Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our workshop. Thank you for coming tonight. It's such a hot day today. You feel like summer already. Okay, I would like to start with a quote. This quote: "Who am I? Where have I come from? Where do I come from? And where am I going?" are questions that are questions not without an answer, but questions that opens up to new questions and lead to deeper into the unshakable mystery of existence. Who am I? Where do I come from? Where am I going? The third question, I definitely have no idea for that, but I will try my best to answer the first two. Who am I? Where do I come from? First of all, would you like to try to pronounce my name? Yuanyuan. Yuanyuan. Yeah. The first time I came here to the United States was 2012. I served as the practice Chinese teacher at George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia. Currently, I'm teaching elementary Chinese courses to undergrads at UMBC. And I always told my students, if you can pronounce my name correctly, sorry. Okay, you're automatically got passed the pronunciation exam for Chinese pronunciation exam, and you will have a higher possibility to get an A in my class. Just kidding. Okay, where do I come from? I know most of you probably are very familiar with big cities in China. For example, Beijing and Shanghai. Did you notice the small little dot here? Here? This is Anqing. This is my hometown. It is by the longest river in China, Yangtze River. And if you, in the future, have the chance to go to visit China, please do stop here. And if you notice this 7 stories pagoda, and this is my hometown, Anhui, Anqing. Okay, my background, education background. I went to Anhui Agriculture University for my undergrads. The most exciting experience there was I took a selective course called Tea Ceremony and Tea Appreciation. And that's why whenever I taught my students, I always try to transform them to tea expert, to know all different kind of teas and to start to appreciate tea and to drink wisely. I went to Beijing Language and Culture University for graduate school, and there it was the first time I realized that diversity is such a great thing, because there are more students from more than 140 countries went there and studied there, and I definitely think diversity enriched my life. Then the third school, UMBC. I think this is a magic school that brings us all together and spend some time together tonight. Okay, so here are my objects tonight. I would like to, I hope tonight we can, after the workshop, we can enhance cultural understanding of China and Chinese students from Chinese students' perspective. And you guys will have more emphasis, that's my key point, more emphasis with Chinese students, especially Chinese international students. And also we're going to learn some practical things to know how to pronounce some Chinese names, surnames, that identify some similarities and differences between Chinese educational styles. And hopefully we can brainstorm some strategies to work with Chinese students more efficiently. Okay, here's the agenda. First of all, I think I've done my introduction part, and we're going to start with an icebreaker activity, find someone who. Then we're going to do an activity called When I Think Of. Then we're going to compare some Chinese and American education system and try to pronounce some Chinese names. And then we're going to analyze some critical incidents. Then I will say something about the perspectives of Chinese students, and I will leave some time for questions for discussion. And at last, please help me to fill out the survey and evaluation, and help me grow as a presenter in the future. Okay. First of all, would you like to pull out the yellow one in the packet and try to talk to someone, to talk to the person? try to find someone who the squares that applies to that someone, and ask that person to write down their names in the square. Okay, go ahead.
Can I ask you? Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Have you been to China?
Yes.
Oh, you write it? Okay.
Oh, okay. I think it's the time for everyone to guess it. Okay.
I know. I was yeah. Why are you listening to other people's conversations?
I want to know why is she just helping you out? It just is.
Okay, who got a bingo? Wow, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. What square was the most difficult to fill for you?
Bow when greeted.
Bow when you go. Where do you get it? Do you get it somewhere? No one bows. In this room, no one bows. Which is the easiest one to fill? Like Chinese food. That's everyone loves Chinese food. So can you name something that you learned about your partner or someone you talked to?
I learned that AL cannot tolerate long silences.
He cannot tolerate long silences. Okay, Bridget?
I learned that Karen can speak 0 words.
Ah, Karen, what do you learn?
I learned that Linda said thank you all the time.
Linda said thank you all the time.
I learned that Carlos has studied abroad.
Carlos studied abroad. Where did you go?
Germany.
Germany. Okay. Aya, how about you?
I learned that Rose likes to ask questions in class.
Okay. How about you?
I learned that Linda can say hello in Chinese.
Linda can say hello. How do you say hello in Chinese?
I'm not Linda.
Oh, Linda. How to say Chinese?
I'm right here.
你好吗? Oh, Alex, what did you learn?
I learned that Bridget can use chopsticks.
Bridget, you can use chopsticks. How well did you use chopsticks?
I learned when I was like 10, I think.
10? Are you good at it?
I think I'm okay. I'm competent.
Okay, you're competent. That's a good word. Okay, Linda.
I learned that Carlos has had Chinese students.
Carlos has Chinese students. Nice. How about you?
I learned that Alex has given a present to a teacher.
Oh, what did you give?
I think I gave them some jam.
Some jam? Why did that happen?
My mom thought it would be nice.
Okay. Rose, what did you
I
learn?
learned that Maria has studied abroad, and she's from Catalonia.
Yeah.
So she's studying abroad.
Studying abroad in
No, but also like in other places.
other places. Very nice. Okay. So for those who studied abroad, have you ever feel lonely or isolated? How does that feel?
Awful.
Awful. Yeah. Sometimes I have the same experience, but when you go through that, you're getting better. Okay. Now, would you like to pull out this one page? When I think of, please write down 5 attributes that whatever the first 5 that pop into your mind, just write 5 adjectives or attributes. Okay. When you think of Chinese students, you can list the 5. If you have more, it's even better. Okay. Are you done with that? Who would like to share? What do you think of Chinese students? Shy. Okay. And
Respectful.
respectful. Then you can just shout out.
Studious?
Studious.
I like driven. Driven.
Driven. Then
Enthusiastic.
enthusiastic.
Hardworking.
Hardworking.
Friendly.
Friendly.
Modest.
Modest. Loud. Finally, there is the one. Yeah. You guys have been too nice.
All right.
Good at math?
Good at math. Okay.
That's,
They don't speak up in class.
They don't
speak
up in class.
so really nice.
Do you have other attributes?
They like to share their culture.
They like to share other cultures.
Their culture. Like,
Oh, like
bring
to share.
things or invite you to do things.
Or share their culture.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add? You're good? Okay. Based on this, I think most of them are very positive, right? Most of them are. So I think I'm safe here. I am a Chinese student, international student, and you got a very good impression on Chinese students. Okay. If I select some of the comics online, and when you look at those comics, would you please talk to the person who next to you? When you see this, what comes to your mind? And who want to share? What do you have for this comic?
Studying during class, after class, and in their sleep.
Oh, they studying. They study a long time. Their study day is super, super long, right? Okay. For this one, how do you feel? Have you ever wear the school uniform?
Yeah.
You did? You did?
Yeah.
It wasn't that cute. though.
Horrible.
Why? What happened?
I mean,
You don't like it?
They're not cute.
They're not cute.
I liked it because you had to spend less money on clothes and outfits. So if you had no money, you could just wear the same uniform the whole week.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
You don't have to think about what you're gonna wear.
Yeah, yeah. I think most of the Chinese students do wear school uniforms. I think there is logic, or at least parents and students try to find an effective way to throw all the students into a baggy and not fancy clothes, because most of the students, when they are teenagers, they start to pay attention to their bodies, their outfits, the cosmetics. So I think that's a solution they find. Just throw them into not attractive school uniform. And I think China is a place really emphasize, prefer like collectivism and conformality over like individualism and personality. So study is a priority. It's a student's job. So as a student, your most important as a kid, your most important job is to study hard, to bring academic success to the family, to let this family feel proud about you. So that's why the Chinese students study such a long time. It's kind of your own main job. And okay, but French style are quite different. They wear all different kinds of clothes, right? They want to demonstrate their individual personalities. Okay. Okay, how about this one? Sorry.
Don't show your emotion.
They don't show emotions. Sometimes they wear the same facial expressions all the time. Did you know someone who is like this? You cannot tell the real true feelings about that person, because no matter if she's sad or angry or not happy or nervous or offended, she just wears a smiley face. So as a teacher, especially when you have students who don't disclose her feelings, it's better to frequently check with them to check whether they're doing well in the class. And okay, how about this one? Bridget, you're smiling.
With students that I've had before, they don't really tend to speak up in class sometimes. I feel like I've heard it's because they don't want to seem like they're bragging, or like it's kind of to save face.
To save face? Yeah, you notice some students don't want to speak up, or at least don't want to be the first one to speak up, right? Have you ever thought about the reasons behind it? Okay, in Chinese culture, we always wait to wait our turn to speak. We always want to listen first to allow others to speak. And but sometimes in American cultural settings, especially classrooms, if you wait too long and maybe your turn will never come and the discussion is already over. So. But when we were young, we always told that to be modest, to think about others first, to put others in the first place. And in this way, we sometimes look timid in the classroom discussion. So what do you do as a teacher? How are you going to solve this if they don't want to share, they want to speak?
You could have like different ways of assessing them. Like you could have them choose, like you could have like them to speak and say their answer out loud, or you could have them write it down.
Write it down.
Different ways. Just like be creative with how you assess your students.
Yeah. So one of the things that my professor said, when this discussion is over, but you notice that some students haven't speak at all, then you can come to the student and say, do you want to add something? If this is too hard to add something, or you can say, is there any idea or any like thoughts like resonate yours or anchors your thoughts or your ideas? In this way, just give them a chance to actually to speak. Okay. How about this one?
Shy, I guess?
Shy?
Avoiding eye contact.
Avoiding eye contact. So, are you comfortable of making eye contacts? Americans, yeah. You're not comfortable about long eye contacts. You're American too. Okay. Linda, how about you? Are you comfortable of long eye contact? Pretty much. How about you, Jake?
Context, I guess. But
Uh-huh.
yeah.
But I heard that you said one of the students always avoid contact. I feel like this comment is a kind of stereotype. It does not apply to every Chinese person or every Asian person. I am the one who always want eye contacts. If someone, during the conversation, if someone tried to avoid the contact, I feel like, what's wrong with you? Are you not listening? Are you interested or not? But I noticed last semester, I have a student. Whenever he talked to me, he always looked away or looked down. Later, I realized that he confessed that he has a very controlling and rigid and very strict parents. So for him, he said it's better to look away or look down to show respect to the elders or seniors or someone who is superior to you. So in the student-teacher relationship, he regarded me as someone superior because of the long social distance. Okay. How about this one?
Not as impulsive as Americans.
Not impulsive as Americans.
They may be more conservative, like they want to make sure that they really think through what they do.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I quite admire this American style. As long as you have an idea, you just do it, and just like the logo, just do it. You can execute your ideas immediately. But Chinese people sometimes is more reserved. I think in our culture, we value self-reflection. We don't jump to the idea immediately or execute the idea immediately because we think it's better to think twice, think 3 times before we actually leap to something. Okay. How about this one? Modesty. Humble. Yeah, this one definitely shows how different American designer are from the Chinese designer. Just like if you have Chinese students or American students, they're presenting their project, presenting their assignment. The American students always looks very enthusiastic, very confident, very satisfied about their product or project. The Chinese one, she may sound less confident or hesitant. It's not because she's not satisfied or she didn't work hard, because in our culture, it's always better to not brag about your product. And it's always better to say, oh, there's the thing that I did is nothing. It's just a small stuff. It's nothing to be proud of, or there's a huge room for improvement. And you don't brag about yourself. You always wait others to praise you first. Okay, that's the way they show them modesty. Okay. So you wrote all this. Can you find the attributes in the comics? We definitely have
There's modest,
modest,
studious.
studious,
Respectful.
respectful.
Don't speak up.
Don't speak up. Did anything change after you see those comics? It's pretty much what you expected from the comics. Okay. I think last weekend I was at home and tried to come up with all the attributes to see whether I can fill up all the blanks with attributes. You didn't notice this one? Chinese students. Some of them are careful, hardworking, industrious, naive, earnest, studious, elusive, shy, timid, uncertain, differential, exhausted, nervous, text-oriented. So sometimes I just play with the word, and maybe in the future you can play it by yourself. Okay. Here I pull up some pictures. This is kindergarten, elementary, middle school, and high school. When you first look at these pictures, what comes to your mind? What's your first impression?
Okay, the first impression that comes to mind, it reminds me of countries I've been to.
The country?
It reminds me of Cuba.
Cuba.
The uniforms and
the uniforms.
Yeah.
Classrooms look really large.
Classroom is very large. The average classroom size is about 50 to 60. So what's the average classroom size here? 30, 20. So it's about 2 times as big as the class.
Is that 50 to 60 meters or feet or?
No, people, students
Oh,
in one classroom.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So there are a lot of students in one classroom, and Chinese population is a lot. Exactly. So when did American kids start their school? 5 years old. Yeah. How many years are there for a typical American student before they go to university? 13. Okay. For Chinese students, we have 12 years of school. So instead of 5 years, most of the students here in Maryland have 5 years elementary, right? In China, we have 6 years elementary, 3 years middle school, and 3 years high school. 3 years high school. Altogether, we have 12 years of school. Okay. So here I want to ask you, if you're late for school, what are you going to do as an American student? If you're late school, what's the American student do if they're late for school?
Say you're sorry.
Say you're sorry and just come in? Or don't
Not say you're sorry.
don't say you don't say, just sneak in? Sit in the back, come in silently. Here the Chinese culture, Chinese classroom saying, so if you're late for school, you are not supposed to just sneak in or go into the classroom silently. You need to stop at the door and say 报告, literally means report. Then the teacher give you a signal, like come in, or you can sit down. I think this is the way Chinese teachers think of an effective way to prevent students from being late. Although it's just a small thing, you just have to say 报告, like 2 seconds, but it's an effective way to prevent students from being late because they know that they have to say that 2 words in front of all the peers. They don't want to lose the face. I think it's a good management for the classroom.
Is it possible that the teacher says no?
No, the teacher said no.
Yeah, is that a possibility?
I usually teach it. I think that's not a punishment. Usually, they just want the students to acknowledge that you're late. But next time, you remember that. Okay. I would like to share a video with you, like a typical Chinese day.
欢迎来到 BCPS 的中文空间。Welcome to the BCPS Chinese Zone.
一个中国学生的一天是什么样子的？
一般就是中国学生，一般我起床的话是在6点半起床，然后是吃完早饭之后大概是7点左右出门，然后是一般上课时候一个大班就在7点半到8点之间是早读，然后是从8点15开始的话就开始进入正课，就是从早上4节课，下午4节课，然后直到下午5点半、5点35左右可能会放学了。
放学以后你一般做什么？
一般我放学之后先踢1个小时球，然后再写作业。
你写作业的话大概多长时间？
一般写作业的话会写到4到5个小时。
真的？
真的？
真的？骗人？
没
骗人，真的我们都写不完。
4到5个小时。
是的。
那你几点钟睡觉？
那一回家就12点，然后1点左右。
然后几点钟起床？1点钟
6
睡觉。
点半起床。
然后6点半
起床。
天天累死了。
那没办法。
我也听过很多学校是星期1到星期6上课，有的学校也是星期天上课。
有的是。
有的根本不放。那你一般周末会干什么？
周末的话，我有时候会去踢足球或者去打网球，然后就在那儿写作业。
所以你就没有空。
没空。
那寒假和暑假的话，有没有作业？
学校补课。
那肯定有。
学校补
肯定有。
那没有作业那是件奇迹了。那还有补课呢。
补课是什么？
就是
需要加的课。
加课。
Okay, what have you learned for this short video?
Works a lot. He works a lot.
It works a lot.
People spend a lot of time on education.
On education. A lot of assignment, like 4 hours assignment. Do they do a lot of extracurriculum activities? No. No. Have you ever thought about why? Why do they work that hard? They love study. I think there's a reason behind it. So all the Chinese high school students have to face a entrance examination, national entrance examination. It is required for admission into university inside China. And the score is the most important thing for them, for any school. If they want to go to the ideal school, the first tier, second tier university, they have to get the highest score as high as possible. So students usually spend an entire year for the final exams. So for those who are not lucky, they probably will spend another year to prepare the entrance examination. So most American students, they have 4 years in high school, right? So if the Chinese students happen to have the 4th year in high school, that is really unlucky, which means he didn't do well for the first examination, and he have to suffer a lot and to face a lot of pressure to do it again. Okay, so the three required subject. Sorry.
Who decides if they do well? Is it their choice to take another year, or does someone tell them?
Most of them will choose to, according to their own willings. They can choose to go to the school that's not as satisfactory as they wanted to, or the second tier school. But some people are very driven or highly motivated. They will choose to spend another year to see whether next year he can do a better job. Okay, thank you. And the three main courses are Chinese, English, and mathematics. And they can also choose 3 subjects. So altogether, it's a six courses. It's a 9-hour exams for the entrance examination. They can choose from politics, history, geography, physics, chemistry, and the biology. Unlike American students, they have a lot of fun, extracurricular activities. I know most of the students get off school around 2:30 or 3 o'clock p.m., right? So they have a lot of time to kill. They have a lot of time to do either sports or become the cheerleader, and they start their social life, think about their future, which kind of course they're going to take, and which major, which life career path they're going to take in the future. And another thing I want to mention that it is very common to have your romantic relation in high school. It's common to date here in United States, right? But in China, it's not something that parents and the schools going to encourage you, because they think you will get distracted. It will occupy too much time, and your main objective is to study really hard, get the score, get the highest score. Okay. We mentioned that different class size in America, there's only 20 to 30 students, but in China we have 50 to 60. And of course, it's understandable there's less time for individual, give individual attention to each student. And the other thing is, here in United States, do teachers move around, or do the students move around? Students move around, right? In China, actually students don't move around. They stayed in the assigned desk. So that's why they spend probably 8 hours with the person who sat next to him or her. That's the deskmate. We have a really strong relationship with deskmate. Either we love them and develop very strong friendship, or we hate them because we have to spend such a long time together.
Is it each desk for
two people. Each desk for two people. So it's understandable that it's more convenient for teachers to move instead of 60 people to migrate from class to class. Yeah. In Chinese education system, it's pretty much test-oriented, because students are evaluated by test performance. So are the teachers. So teachers are evaluated by their students' test performance. I know here it's a kind of privacy of your score is kind of privacy, right? You don't publicly post your score. But in China, it's very common that teachers paste the score of the students publicly in the classroom, so people actually know each other's score. It's not such a big deal in Chinese classroom. Okay. In English classes, generally speaking, students' oral language skills is not as strong as the written and the writing skills. Okay. The point of learning for Chinese students is to find the exact correct answer for each question. So when you tell them there's no right or wrong answer, they kind of feel insecure, like there's no right answer. But what if I just want the correct answer? So sometimes no right or wrong answer are real and uncomfortable to the Chinese students. Okay. Have you noticed any differences between the two Chinese two systems? Is there anything you want to add? Okay. Okay, we can move on here. Then I will show another short video.
立正，敬礼。
好，坐下。
What have you seen from that two short clips? What have you seen from that two short clips?
Everybody's kind of like in unison, like everyone does everything at the same time.
Everyone does. What did they do just now?
They bow, they greet the teacher.
They greet the teacher.
I feel like it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of different because I feel like sometimes our teachers will greet us in America and then nobody says anything. It's really awkward. And I thought of another difference side to your question earlier. So you said that a lot of the students don't really move, like they kind of stay in their seats. I feel like when I was going through student teaching, my mentors and my professors would always encourage me to make my students move because they get so antsy, and I guess that's kind of more of an American thing. Like they need to move around in order to learn and to focus on what you're teaching.
Focus.
So you're a lot more disciplined, I guess.
Later I'll tell you how we move around. So as I said, students sit at their assigned desks, right? The teachers move all the time. So whenever the teacher steps into the classroom, enter the classroom, all the students stand up and bow to the teacher, and by saying, "Teacher, good." 老师好, teacher, good. Then the teacher bow back to the student and say, "Student, good." 同学们好. Then they ask all the students to sit down. So this happens every single class, every single period of class. So which means if I have 4 class in the morning, 4 class in the afternoon, we need to stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down every 8 times. So I think that is the way that we have our movement up and down in the classroom. Yeah. Why do Chinese? So they will do this all at the same time and do it in a unison. It's a way to show their respect to the teacher. It's a typical opening routine for every single class. I studied for 12 years for elementary, middle school. So I did that 12 years sitting up, stand up and sit down. This is a typical class routine.
To me, it looks like old times here. It used to be like that.
It used to be like that.
In public schools even, maybe 50 years ago, if someone comes in the room, the principal or any adult, everybody stands up and says good morning or something like that. So is it changing at all?
It's not changing at all. We still do that. We still do that every single class. And I served as the monitor for the middle school classroom. So my job for every day is I give the order, I give the command to say when the teacher, as long as I spot the teacher come in, and I say stand up. That's the proudest thing I did for 3 years for my middle school. I feel the power that I give them to the order to stand up, and then the teacher bow to the teacher, and then we sit down all together. So I always put that in my resume. And my husband always said, "You cannot put that in the resume. People don't understand what a monitor is." But I feel that doesn't make me feel proud, and I'm happy about that. Yeah.
That reminded me of my country, like this.
Your country did that.
As of right now, they same. That was like my elementary school.
Yeah. When I first came here, I feel like, did the school start already? Because there's no signal. There's no strong signal that the teacher just started to talk. But here, the strong signal, we sit down and the serious part starts, then school starts, the lesson starts. Okay, you all know this man. Confucius. He's a very, very old man. He was like 2,000 years ago. He's the greatest philosopher, thinker, and most importantly, most of all, an educator in China. That's the reason also explains why scholars and teachers are so highly, greatly respected in China because they want to show respect to like knowledgeable person, like scholars and the teachers. Okay. I want to point out 3 key points of the Chinese Confucian value in the classroom. One is harmony. You guys all know harmony? Yeah, that's why in the Chinese classroom debate is less common than the US one because we feel like everyone is supposed to agree. If we start open debate, it's kind of, you disagree with someone, it will hurt the feelings of someone or it will damage the relationship between your peers. You don't want that person to lose face. You always want to maintain the rapport and the peaceful relationship with each other. Then the authority. So the teacher is definitely the leader of the classroom and the soul of the classroom. So the students are supposed to do whatever the teacher asks to do. So I know someone is going to teach in China, right? You're going to receive a huge amount of respect.
It's relieving to hear coming from teaching in an elementary school right now.
I mean, the respect from China, you will receive respect from teachers, parents, students. And that respect is not something that you have to gain here. You have to earn your respect from the teacher. That respect is kind of granted, is granted there. Okay. The social expectation, the social status of teacher is very high, and they're highly respected. Just like doctors are highly respected here. Doctors is actually used as a title. So in China, this address is used as a title. So no matter you are the student of the teacher, but if that person is a teacher, you always greet him or her teacher, then plus the surname. It's a respectful title. Okay. And this day, I want Jake to know this day, September 10th, is the Chinese National Teachers' Day. And I said, I can imagine when you go there, you'll receive flowers, chocolates from the students. Because in 1985, the government designated September 10th as the first festival day for any profession. It is the first festival for any profession, September 10th. Okay. So now I want to ask you some questions. What characteristics define a good student to you as an American teacher? What characteristics defines a good student to you?
Well, who participates in class?
Participate in the class. Mm-hmm.
Discipline.
Discipline. Mm-hmm.
Respectful.
Respectful.
Curious.
Curious. Mm-hmm.
Actively wants to improve themselves.
Actively want to improve themselves. Mm-hmm. How about enthusiasm? Innovation? Creativity. Okay. Interaction. Okay. I think, but in Chinese classroom, what do we emphasize? We emphasize discipline. We emphasize accuracy and efficiency. So that's why some of the highly performed students can get 720 out of 750 for the entrance examination. So we always seek for the correct answer, and accuracy is such a big thing in our education. The other thing is efficiency. And they are always very quick, smart. They can solve the most difficult mathematical questions, chemical, physical questions immediately in a short amount of time. That's why so many students nail the Olympic competitions in this kind of competition. Okay, now let's move to another part of the workshop. We're going to talk about a lot of names. I will start by showing an old joke.
Mr. President, Condoleezza Rice is here to sing it.
Good, send her in.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. President.
Oh, Condoleezza, nice to see you. What's happening?
Well, Mr. President, I have the report here about the new leader in China.
Great, Condi, lay it on me.
Mr. President, who is the new leader of China?
Well, that's what I want to know.
Well, that's what I'm telling you, Mr. President.
Well, that's what I'm asking you, Condi. Who is the new leader of China?
Yes.
I mean the feller's name.
Hugh.
The guy in China.
Hugh.
The new leader of China.
Hugh.
The Chinaman.
Hugh is leading China, Mr. President.
What are you asking me for?
I'm telling you, Hugh is leading China.
Well, I'm asking you, Condi, who is leading China?
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
Will you or will you not tell me the name of the new leader of China?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Arafat is in China. I thought he was in the Middle East.
That's correct, sir.
Then who's in China?
Yes, sir.
Yasser's in China?
No, sir.
Then who is?
Yes, sir.
Yasser?
No, sir.
So I know, as a Chinese person, I apologize for on behalf of Chinese. We really have difficult names. We really give you difficult time when you pronounce our names. So who is that person? Hu Jintao, President Hu. Then how about the second one? She. Is she a she or is she a he? Is a he. She is not a she. She is actually a man, a guy. She is he, right? Okay. I am a Chinese person, and when I see this comics, I feel like, that's so true. And half of the people don't know how to pronounce our names. And there is a certain amount of people ask, do you have an English name? And the rest are those who try so hard to pronounce your name wrong. But I do like this attitude, this guy. Although he was doing something wrong, he was mixing the Japanese bow and Thailand bow with the Chinese greeting, ni hao. Ni hao, right? But I think the thing is, I like his attitude, his good intention. So after all, he wants to greet the girl with her mother tongue, her first language. So I know most of you guys are Chinese, are teachers. So when you have your Chinese students, if you show your attitude to pronounce the name first, I think you already have a starting point to establish a very harmonious and good relationship with your student. Okay, let's do some pronunciation practice. So how are you going to pronounce this one? Fang. Fanghe. Okay, that's pretty good. So it's definitely not he, right? Because it's a typical girl's name. It's not a guy's, a boy's name. So when you say Miss He, it sounds very weird, right? Okay. This one. Sue. Xiaoming Sue? Anyone knows? So this one is kind of confusing because it has the same spelling with sun, right? So it's very easy to pronounce it as the sun. But it's not a sun, actually it's Sun. 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 Pretty good. Okay. And this one, Xi Jinping, President Xi, as I said, is not she, it's a he. Okay, this one, I heard this from my old friend, and he said the teacher have no idea how to pronounce Q-U-A-N. It's just way too difficult. So he chose to say Feng, Mr. Feng. And the students say, I'm not a Mr. Feng, I'm not a telephone. So it's not Feng, it's Feng. Feng. That's pretty good. Okay, the last one is my Chinese name, which is Yuanyuan. Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay. So if you don't know how to pronounce your student's name, the safe way is just to ask them. Because if you mispronounce them, probably they won't correct you. They will hesitate to correct you. Okay. Now, here are the top 10 surnames in China. So we're going to spend 2 minutes to learn this. It's a good deal. I'll tell you why. Because this top 10 surnames covers almost half of Chinese names surname. So which equals like 700 million people in this world. So it's a good deal, right? Let's start to learn it. Okay, the first one, can you read them to me? 李李李 Very good 很好王王王 Good 张张 It's like J 张 Good Then 刘刘很好 Then 陈 Ch, like the bird is chirping. Chen. Very good. Yang. Then Zhao. Huang. Very good. Zhou. Last one. Wu. It sounds like the English version Wu, but it's with a rising note. Wu. I'm very surprised about your pronunciation. It's very good. I think you guys may want to take Chinese 101 in the future because you really have a good pronunciation. Okay. Here's, Chinese parents always assign a lot of meanings for their kids. They associate a lot of expectations, hopes, wishes for their kids. So there are always a lot of meanings under the names. I would like to show you a short video about the meanings under the name.
My name is 海哥.
My name is 刘泽文。
冯嘉诚、
郑举之、
刘欣然、
严呼和、
徐国豪、
金继文、
普爱。My name is joy and happiness in Chinese.
In Chinese, it means to continue the cultural legacy of my family.
To cultivate knowledge.
To turn into a better person.
It means heroine, and my parents took it from the story of Mulan.
My name is connected with the history of the Dragon Boat Festival, and is to commemorate this poet who gave up his life for his country.
And I think that my parents took this name as a protest to say that I can be just as great as a guy.
Well, it means blessing from my parents. Like, they want my sister and I to be happy.
I hope I can one day, be able to thrive academically and be able to contribute something to the intellectual world.
It literally means to preach harmony. It's also the first character of the city that I come from.
The last word means the brightest star in the night sky, so that when my parents are far away from home, they look up to the sky and they can see me, the brightest star.
First, it contains my parents' wish for me, and also I think it shows how much my parents care about the family culture.
They were full of blessing. It's a kind of blessing to my sister and me.
Because my name is part of my culture, which I take really seriously.
I guess it's important because my parents have great hopes for my future, to make the world a better place.
To break the glass ceiling for girls and fight just like how people expect guys to fight. And they don't want me to submit to some cultural values on girls.
No matter what I do, they just want me to be happy, and that's all.
All this deliberation, all these memories, all this history.
It's something that I inherited from my grandparents.
It also reminds me of where my root is, to never forget where I come from.
海哥、
冯嘉诚、
郑举之、
刘欣然、
严呼和、
徐国豪、
金继文。
Say my name.
Say my name.
Say my name.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the names. Has anyone mispronounced your name? Has anyone mispronounced your name?
Yeah.
All the time? Oh, so not just Chinese. Y'all got mispronounced. How do you feel when someone mispronounced your name? Was it on purpose or it just accidentally don't know how to pronounce?
It's
Is
funny.
it funny?
I think, because you have to give people the benefit of the doubt, I think. And I start laughing.
They start laughing. Would you bother to correct people if they don't know how to pronounce your name?
They get it completely wrong.
If it's kind of there, then it's fine.
So, how about you? Some people pronounce your name incorrectly.
Yep.
I heard about the Watchman all the time. Yeah. Okay. Why do you think Chinese students don't want to correct you if you pronounce their name wrong or incorrectly?
Because, like, from what you said, they respect the teacher a lot, so they don't want to make the teacher lose face.
Lose face. Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
they appreciate that the person is trying to pronounce.
Yeah, the efforts.
Yeah, the effort.
And I think it's hard to teach the right pronunciation.
It's hard to teach. That's correct.
I might not even say it right after they correct me. So, like the tones.
Yeah, the tones, all the I didn't mention that's the meaning behind my name, right? Are you interested? Okay. When I was born, my parents saw my face and they said, "Oh my God, this is the roundest face I ever saw in this world." So they want to give my name something related to round, to literally round. Then they think, how can you name a girl round? It's just not that fancy. So we have a character Yuan, the same character. Which means elegance and grace. So a lot of parents assign that kind of name to a girl, right? Then it has the same pronunciation but different meaning: grace, beautiful, elegance. But that character also has a problem. It has so many strokes to write. So many strokes. It's like 20 strokes. Then when I get assigned for elementary school, and the teacher said, "Oh my God, your name is just too complicated to write. Let's simplify it." So I still keep the pronunciation. My name still keep the pronunciation Yuan, but a much simpler character, which means garden and the park. So I feel like I'm very satisfied and happy that there's a long story behind my name, but I feel like happy I had that name because I'm a person who really love the nature and the garden. I always want to go to the garden and the park. So, if you have the chance to give your kids any name, what kind of meanings do you want to associate it with? I'm just curious.
Like, if I had a kid, I'd like to have that kid to have an indigenous name for my country.
Indigenous. What do you want to say?
I guess I don't really care about the meaning. I'm more care about like the sound.
The sound.
And personally, I don't think I'd want something from my culture. I just don't think they're very nice names. Not as attractive for me.
Okay. Yeah, we assigned a lot of meanings like elegance or bright star or intelligence or courage. Those in general like traits or values in our names. Okay, here I'm going to start a 3 critical analysis, critical incident analysis. I would like to invite 2 persons. One can perform as a teacher, the other can perform as a student. Let's perform this little dialogue now. Yeah.
Fang, your English is improving. I'm pleased with your work.
Oh no, my English is not very good.
Why do you say that? You're doing very well in class.
No, I am not a good student.
Fang, you're making progress in this class. You should be proud of your English.
No, it's not true. You are a good teacher, but I am not a good student.
Yeah, very good, right? Thank you, guys. Very good. So the teacher is surprised by the response, and what happened here? What's in this scenario? What is the student thinking? What is the teacher thinking? Why is the teacher really confused by Fang's response? Compliments. She cannot take any compliments. She always denies the compliments, right? Okay. So should the teacher stop complimenting her? No? Should the teacher compliment her more?
maybe just, I don't know, like she can compliment her when she does well, but maybe not insist.
Not insist. Okay. So, what different norms do you think that make the difference that regarding the compliment?
Chinese are supposed to humble themselves.
Humble.
Americans are expected to
accept it, right? Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned earlier that there's kind of an expectation that you like wait to be complimented, like you don't brag.
Yeah.
So like I would imagine that the kind of the what's the word that I want? Like reassurance or like the gratification would come from a compliment. So is there like an internal sense of like taking a compliment that they wouldn't show, or is my question making sense? I'm not sure if it's.
Anyone
I think the students are. I think that student does know that the teacher's complimenting her, but she's trying not to show it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to comment on that because that was me once back when I was little. So I was an ESL student, and that's what I did. And my teacher was really good in middle school. She said, "You're in the States. You need to learn. Our culture is to accept compliments. You have to say thank you and just leave it that way. You don't say,
oh
I'm
no,
not good.
yeah.
No, don't say this to me. Don't do that. You just need to accept it and say thank you. So that's how I learned. Like, you just say thank you, accept the compliments, and just leave it at that. Yeah. Because that's something you have to learn.
Yeah, I feel like I want to point it out. It just makes teachers aware that if sometimes the teacher just keeps saying no, it should not bother you, because it's not like he's doing the student doing this way just to show a way to display the modest. Actually, he knows that he's, but it's not culturally. It's not appropriate to take it immediately. At least to deny for the first or second times. Yeah. Okay. So when you praise a Chinese lady, so sometimes you say, "Oh, you look gorgeous." Then she will say, "No." But things are changing too. If you praise a Chinese woman, you don't expect that every single Chinese woman will reject or decline your compliment. Sometimes they say, "Okay, thank you," or sometimes in other cases they say, "Yes, thank you, I know." So things are changing now. So I'm not bringing stereotypes to say all the Chinese students will decline your compliment. So when I search humble for some pictures online, and I find this one's funny. I search humble pie, and I say, and this is a cute picture. Humble pie means you cannot be I want to be a humble pie. Then I realized I use it completely wrong. Be a humble. You cannot be a humble pie. It's not be a humble pie. You're eating humble pie. And I said, okay, eating humble pie means you're display humble or modest, right? Then I was wrong again, because eating humble pie does not mean humble, or which means, what does that mean? You're wrong, and you have to force to admit the mistakes. I'm so glad I asked people that whether this is appropriate, or else tonight I'm going to eat the humble pie because I'm totally wrong. And this humble pie has nothing to do with humble. Okay. Here's another critical accident. I can read it for you, and you guys can help me analyze it. Okay. After leaving school and going home, the English teacher ran into a group of Chinese students at a bus stop. They asked, "Where are you going?" The teacher laughed, annoyed that they would ask questions to pry into her personal life, and they believed that it was not their business. So they just say, "Just going home." Will you be annoyed? How do you feel when people ask you, "Where are you going?"
In the Philippines, it's really common in conversation. Like you say, "Oh, hi, how are you?" Then you say, "Asa ka mo ato," like, "Where are you going?" Because you're just saying, you don't actually have to tell them. You just be like, "Oh, I'm just there." Like, you don't tell them where you're going. You're just asking. It's like saying, "How are you?" And people are like, "Oh, I'm good." But like, if you actually said you were bad, no one cares.
Yeah.
You just said, "Good, good. How are you?" Good.
It's just like a greeting, right? Yeah. But in American culture, if people ask you where you're going, you kind of feel weird. Why do I need to tell you where I'm going? is stalking me? Why do I need to share you that information? That's my personal things, right? Yeah, that's very good. So the same thing in Chinese, where are you going? It's just a greeting. Have nothing to do with they when they say they have no intention to intrude your privacy, or as you said, a vague and unspecific information like going town, going there, over there is adequate, is enough. You don't have to answer it verbally. Okay. So what the student did is try to be friends with the teacher and try to greet the teacher and show respect in the public. But the teacher, on the other hand, misunderstood, like he's intruding the privacy. Okay. The other where going one. So Ming asked permission to leave her geometry class because she needed to use the bathroom. As the teacher was, as she was walking the hallway, another teacher on hall monitor duty asked her, "Where are you going?" Then she looked at the teacher and smiled and continued the way. And the teacher said, "Hey, stop there. Let's take you back to the class." And what happened here?
She thought she was being nice.
Yeah, the teacher said she was being nice, so she does not need to give the specific information. I'm going to the bathroom. She just smiled and maybe point. So that's the place that the students probably will get trouble. Okay. Then we have another one. This one, I want two people to perform this critical incident.
Can you take out your trash by 10 p.m.? Please take out your trash by 10 p.m.
Yeah, sure.
If you're not done by 10, you won't pass your room check. You won't earn your points.
Yeah, sure.
Soon. Are you taking me seriously?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, very good, very good. So what happens here? What happened here? What's in this scenario?
For us, yeah, sure, sounds sarcastic.
Sarcastic? Mm-hmm.
She was probably being serious.
Being serious? Mm-hmm. So how many of you actually feel like when people say, yeah, sure, you feel sarcastic or dismissive or even rude?
Maybe they don't really mean, yeah, sure. Like, maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't.
Maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't. Mm-hmm. You all think that way? Okay, let me tell you this one. Okay, to many Americans, yes, sure means whatever, is like kind of sarcastic and dismissive and even rude. But I still remember so vividly my English textbook translate sure to 当然是 absolutely, certainly. So when I say sure, which means absolutely, certainly, I am being very affirmative. And yeah is a casual way to say yes, right? You don't want to talk like an old book. You don't want to say yes, yes. And we always watch a lot of TV drama and want to sound more American, more authentic. Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah. That's why actually the student is taking the teacher seriously, but he did not know that, yeah, sure, may sound offensive. And the teacher didn't realize or understand that actually that's how he was taught in class, and that's a literal translation. So there's a mismatch information, there's a misunderstanding there. Okay. Okay, now I would like to list some expectations of Chinese students. So Chinese students often, you see, they study hard, they respect the teacher, they arrive on time to the class, they follow directions, and they listen attentively. They sometimes give small gifts to the teacher. And another point is, sometimes they will say yes, even though they don't know the answer. The same thing as they sometimes feel they may lose face, they may look less competent, they may look stupid. No one wants to look stupid in front of the teacher. Okay, and it's sometimes, they always raise hand, always stand up when they answer the question. They don't sit at the table. They always stand up when they answer the question. And usually the teacher call on the students and the students raise their hand. And I think this is also a way to keep harmony and order in the 50 or 60 students classroom. Okay, generally speaking, Chinese people are not very good at public speaking and open debate. That's why it takes longer for them to establish opinions and to express it freely. Chinese students really rarely engage in classroom debate. They are rarely actively participate in discussions or leave the room without permission. Sometimes if you look at the student start to feel restless a little bit. Maybe he or she wants to use the restroom, but she did not to ask you because she didn't want to interrupt the class. So sometimes it's better for the teacher to be observant, to notice maybe he or she has some needs to answer the nature's call. Chinese students usually don't bring food to the classroom. They really laugh because they take study seriously. They don't laugh that often in the classroom. And they didn't feel that comfortable to share personal information with teacher. And they really seek leadership roles in groups, or they ask for help or go to the class office hours, or challenging the authority and teachers' teaching expertise. Okay, what should teachers do? First of all, as I mentioned, try to pronounce the name correctly to establish a starting point of the good relationship with the teacher, with the students, and give more compliments. If they always deny it, maybe you want to compliment them more, then they get used to it. They know that they need to accept the compliment. And also, that's my point, to checking frequently to see the students actually whether the student is doing well. And to understand that being quiet does not mean lack of interest, or being quiet does not mean didn't actively engage in thinking or classroom activities. So here the teachers should be careful in invading privacy by asking a lot of personal questions or expecting the students to interrupt. So sometimes they may have questions, but they won't interrupt you. They may ask you after the class when everyone leaves. Then maybe you will give some time for the students who still have puzzles in the mind. Okay. Or penalize students who are not engaging in open debates because they don't want to open debate. They don't want to hurt the feelings of others. Or making the students to get in front of the class and to talk. Okay. We can skip that. I noticed when I did the survey, one person said some adaptation to American culture. Who did that? I didn't remember. Who wrote that? When I did the survey, and I think one participant wrote some request about the. Okay, never mind. I just want to mention this a little bit. All know the Chinese students have a long study day, right? But yeah, I know their study day is long, but usually they have a long nap time as well. In China, people actually don't work or study during the noontime, especially the earliest class actually start at 2 or 2:30. So from 12 to 2 is the time that students don't study. So here, I feel very kind of weird to have class at 1 o'clock. So when you find some students feel sleepy or dozing in the classroom, maybe he just got used to the nap time, not the working time. Okay. They are not experts in extra curriculums, and they sometimes have indirect communication style. Okay, the long distance, being shy or quiet. And sometimes they may feel homesick, or they may feel they're in the minority and find difficulty or find difficult time to fit into the majority or the mainstream American culture. Okay. The last thing I want to mention is the note-taking. Because in China, every single one has their own textbook. They own their textbook, so they are not very familiar with jogging down notes on their own notebook. That's why they're not very well trained. So if you find some Chinese students are struggling taking notes because we're not very used to taking notes in the classroom.
Okay. What do you mean they have their own textbook.
They have their own test. Every student at the beginning of the semester, they have like 10 or 15 textbook. They own it. They can take it home. They can write it on the textbook.
What do they write on the textbook?
Some notes, like when teachers say something or add some information.
And then the teacher looks at that?
The teacher don't look at the note. Textbook.
Oh, textbook.
Textbook. The textbook. Here, students don't.
So they're not used to writing on something. Or they take notes in the textbook?
They take notes or they highlight the textbook, the important information on the textbook, but they're not very familiar of taking notes. Separate notes. Yeah, on the notebook. I have trouble taking notes because I'm not used to that. So, okay. I want to show this one. Is Chinese people looks more reserved, and I know a lot of Americans, they say awesome, phenomenal, amazing, incredible a lot. Chinese people, we don't say that. One of the reasons is we're taught like showing too much emotions look immature. So when you want others to look at you as a very mature, stable man, and though those who look more mature, calm, and stable are those who will have more opportunity to be appointed at a more challenging work. So they don't want to look naive and to show a lot of emotions. Great, awesome, incredible. So here's a little difference. Okay. Do you have any questions?
So everybody is supposed to study, but not everybody is a good student.
No.
Because they just, I just have a lot of students that were not the best students. And so they don't really, I guess they know they're supposed to study, but they don't know how to study. So I guess I'm just saying, like, if you think everybody's at this level, there's a lot of different levels of students.
Yeah, I mean, they spend a lot of time studying, but mainly they don't study very efficiently. So there's a variety of skills or a variety of levels. And some of the students are pretty good, some of the students are not very good. And they do spend a lot of time, but sometimes they lack their lack of the strategy to study efficiently.
Do people feel like the best students should come to the U.S. to study, or do they feel like, well, you didn't get into the best school, so you should go abroad to learn English? Or is there any attitude about going to the U.S.?
Going to the U.S., I think it really depends. If you are a group of students who are really excellent in academia, and those are students who do come to U.S. And there's also another group of high school students who didn't do well in the class. Maybe they want to seek another path, another way to achieve in another educational setting. So they come here. So there are two different groups of students who actually come here to study.
Makes sense.
How is something like special learning needs or learning disabilities viewed in China?
Disability learning?
Yeah, like, I don't know, maybe like a student that's struggling because of some kind of diagnosed learning disability, like dyslexia, or that's the only thing that specifically comes to mind, but I don't know. Yeah.
Sorry, what's the question again? How do teachers?
How is something like a student, because there's this whole emphasis on like rigor and being able to perform, but in U.S. schools there's a lot of like room for student like to view like exceptional cases of like kids that have stronger needs. There's a whole spectrum of that, and I don't know how something like that fits into the mold of this, like, you have to be pushed to be the absolute best, you have to to perform this well. Where's the room for someone like that?
for someone who needs special needs.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a weird thing that when I was in China, the students who have special needs, they usually go to a different classroom where they go to a special program that will allow them to have a slower pace. But when I was a student, I think most of my classmates, they don't have any disability. So maybe we kind of mainly separate them, and yeah.
So if there's someone that is struggling that doesn't have something that's like a visible disability, would the general cultural attitude just be they need to work harder instead of asking the question, what do they need to help them succeed? Does that question make sense?
I think you just stay in class and you just ask to be work harder, and you're just too stupid. So you just need to work harder and do more instead of. I don't think they accommodate.
Accommodate. That's the word.
Do that whatsoever.
Yeah. Unless it's an obvious.
Unless it's so obvious that they need to put in special schools or maybe a special class.
Mm-hmm.
You do a special class.
Yeah.
Within the grade, you have a class, especially for those students.
For those students.
So,
I feel like when I teach here, I do recognize that Americans really emphasize train the teacher how to accommodate to those people who have special needs. I feel this is really an area that Chinese classroom really lack of. They don't pay a lot of attention to that. They don't accommodate that much. They assume that all the students are good students, then they're motivated. This is their main job to perform well.
It's all personal accountability.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Do you guys have any other questions? No? Okay. That's good. Now, please complete the survey, and we still have a lot of food there. Please enjoy the food and get more food. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having it.
Thanks.